an eject button. So Game Boy games are built so that you can grab them and pull them out, and it's not really hard or anything. I want a Game Boy that has a button on the side that I can push, and then the game comes flying out. I want an eject button. And I thought of a couple ways to do it. The Super Nintendo has an eject button, and it's got those, it just works like a lever. You push that down, and then it pushes the game up. It's really mechanical. And I thought about doing that with a Game Boy, and here's the Game Boy I want to use. It's got a backlight in it, and I was looking at it. There's not a whole lot of room in here. I can't put a big old lever in there. Any mechanism I put in there would either have to be really big with a huge lever poking out the side, or a huge gaping hole, or if it's really small, then it'll be really hard to operate because there's less leverage. And I thought, well, what other way can I do it? So I started looking at solenoids, and that's basically an electromagnet with a pin or a shaft in it that when you power it, it either shoots the pin out or it sucks the pin in. And again, there's not a whole lot of room in here, but I found some solenoids that were really small that I'm thinking about using. They don't have a lot of force. They don't push, they don't, launch the pin out or slurp it in really hard. What they do is there's a magnet at the base of the cylinder that pulls the pin in, and when you give it power, it sort of releases or turns on the electromagnet, which negates the effect of the magnet, so it kind of turns the magnet off so that the pin can freely move back and forth. That's what the description is anyway. So I thought, well, how can I use that? Because it would be really great to have a small solenoid like that. So the solution I came up with was have some sort of a mechanism, whatever's pushing the game out, have it be spring-loaded so that when you push the game in, it wants to push the game back out. And so you push the game in, it pushes down on the solenoids, and the magnet locks it in place. And then when you push the button to turn off the magnet, then the whatever frame or mechanism that is that's spring-loaded will shoot the game out. So I've already started kind of looking at this. There's not a whole lot. So the game, where's my game? The game goes in and it kind of uses up all that space there. So I'm thinking about carving some of that out, or if I want to have one piece go through the back of that so it can push up, or if I want to have two separate pieces with two separate solenoids. Still thinking about how I'm going to do that, but it's going to be something mounted right here so it can push up on the game. So I'll see what I come up with. Okay, here's my idea. I've kind of dremeled and sanded away at both sides of this black housing that holds the cartridge. The idea is when the cartridge is in it, I take these plastic brackets that I carved out of some scraps, one on each side, and it kind of sits up against that in a way that it can push the cartridge up, one on each side. And I have them attached to this back shell, spring-loaded, so that they will push the game out. Check this out. eBay, man. I have this huge assortment of springs, any size I could want, any tension, any style of spring. And I played with some compression ones at first to use this space down here. I thought that would be a good idea, but I think I'm settling on using more of the, I don't know what term to say, but so that it pulls this spring, and I'll have another one on that side, so it pulls them both down, and there's some good strength there. I think that could really throw the Game Boy cartridge. This housing, I can now put the game in completely wrong and line the pins up all wrong, but I did a test when this is actually inside the shell. The plastic guides the game to the right pins, so I'm not worried about that. The bad news is I ordered the solenoids. They're a little bit smaller than I thought, but I thought, oh neat, that's nice and small. They're just not strong enough. They grip just a little bit when they're sitting inside there. I tried stacking more magnets on this side. It didn't make it stronger. I need something stronger than that. I guess I could, in theory, work the tension on the springs just right so that it's right in that bracket of tension, so that the game will still stay inside, held by this small amount of magnetic force until the power is applied to it. And it works. I tested the power on it, and it turns the magnet off. But I need a stronger solenoid than that. I don't want it to be that delicate of a balance between the springs and the strength of the solenoid. So I'm still going to look. Oh, and I already started making the track on here. Here's the other bracket, so that it can slide up and down inside that kind of gap inside the shell. I'll probably need to install just a really thin layer of plastic on both sides here, so that this will just stay inside that groove and not ever pop out. Probably have to drill a hole in the top or something to loop this around. Still need to work out the details, but that's what I'm working on. A track for each bracket on each side. I haven't started that side, so that they can launch the game out. Just need a better solenoid. Well, I got these ones. And they're bigger, and I got excited when I saw them. I thought that's perfect. That's a good size. I'm sure it's got lots of strength when it's inside there, but I guess I read the description wrong. It was kind of confusing. It doesn't hold at all. This is the wrong kind of solenoid, so where when I apply power to it, it turns the magnet on, and so it doesn't have enough power that it will that I can, invert it and use it to throw the game out. There's no way it's strong enough for that. So I need to find one that's about this size, or maybe a little smaller. It's kind of big. Again, maybe I can use this area. I can install a rechargeable battery in the bottom here and use this space if I need to. But I need something about this size, but this style, that it has a lot of strength holding the piston in place until I apply the power. So I'm still looking for a good solenoid.